Hello friends, this is Scott, and we're down at the hobby farm, and we're actually had a few tulips come up that the deer didn't get to. You can see a lot of those were munched down pretty good, but we did get a few, so I thought I'd share those today. Made another quick trip down to the hobby farm, just an overnight trip with Mr. Lincoln. The goal today was to build another planting bed, as I need to get the tomatoes in, and I need to plant, carrots and beets and radishes and those types of things. I'm already too late. Those are some pretty yellow tulips. And the comfrey did survive. There's a little bit there, so that's good news. It looks like most everything lived. The only thing I'm kind of curious about whether it lived was my elm tree in the back. But here's the willow tree that was cut down several years ago in the front yard, and it's the first flush of mushrooms already. So these willows tend to be really populated with mushrooms, and so I'm wondering how well those would be for raising mushrooms. They're edible. We'll have to see. Here's my garden. As you see, the garlic on the right, the onions on the left, and then the potatoes in the bins, and then you see weeds all the way around this garden. So I'm going to probably label or title this video, making a garden one bed at a time, because it really is literally just trying to maintain what I've already gotten done, and then just try to get a little bit of progress while I go back and do maintenance, because the weeds, it's full growing season right now, and the weeds are just crazy. So as you can see here, there's just, I don't even know what this weed is, but it's just everywhere. And I'm just going to smother it with cardboard and, screen the soil. And I did bring down some cardboard, and Mr. Lincoln's taking a break there. So hard cardboard isn't the easiest thing to always come by, but I'm going to keep bringing down every box I can find, and I'll just keep making a bed at a time. I had big plans that I was going to make all these beds this year and use the whole yard as a garden, and it's going to take some time, so I don't know. I'll just get done what I get done. The big pile of dirt is starting to level out. I'm still screening out the rocks. I'm getting probably 2 screens worth, and I'm filling up a bucket of rocks and use them in the driveway. But I've got to take the dirt from there all the way over there, so it's kind of a long trip. But as you can see, I should have brought the mower down again. I mowed last weekend, and I should be mowing every week. So here's how it looks. It's funny how the dirt changes color so quickly. That's just 2 loads a few minutes apart, and the moisture's already getting zapped out of it with the sun. It's getting warm, but it's not hot yet. It's beautiful weather down here at the hobby farm. So there's the bed, as much dirt as I moved today. And then I had some biochar, and I call it biochar. It's just basically wood ash that was in my burn barrel. To make biochar, you should, get it all hot and burned up and then quench it with water. I did not do that with this. I did quench it with water to put it out, but that was the next day. So this stuff isn't the best biochar that you can make, and I haven't inoculated it with anything yet. But I'm just going to throw it on the new garden bed. And as you see, I'm trying to break this up in my hand, and it's a little blurry. But yeah, the stuff isn't fully charged or fully burnt up like it should be, but it'll do the job. So this wheelbarrow is going to go, and I just took a shovel and just kind of sprinkled it on top. And on top of all this dirt, I'm going to screen some compost from my ingrown compost bin at my house in Salt Lake. I'm going to bring that down, and that's what I'll put on top, and then I'll plant into that. So, the garden will be what it'll be. But here's this is the pet graveyard where the previous owner had buried several pets, and I actually had to help bury one of them at the end, one of their little dogs, Chico. But as you see there with a little bit of cardboard and wood chips, what that can do. And then you can see where I haven't put any cardboard or wood chips, and that's the rest of it. So decided I was just going to weed this down so that next time I come down with some cardboard, it's not perfect by any means, but at least with the cardboard I can put it down and then I can smother the weeds out again. So this area, I'm going to reclaim this next, as you can see on the end there where I haven't got to. But it's not perfect, but I just went in and ripped them out by hand. And you can see how tall they were before, with what I have left to do. But, you can only do what you can do. And so I'm going to make this look good. And then I'll just keep working my way toward the house with new beds. And we'll plant what we can plant. It's already, past spring gardening season. We're almost to summer gardening. And Mother's Day was last weekend, so it's time to plant, tomatoes and all the warm weather crops too. But now, since I flattened out the top of this hill, I'm going to start taking dirt from the sidewalk down below, because that's going to be a sunken patio and kind of a C shape. So I'm going to start moving the dirt from down there and start working the soil back so that I can put up a wall and then and make the little patio. But there's a look at the garden across the way. And it's looking better, but again, I'm just going to do the best I can this year. And at the end of the gardening season, I'll smother all this with plastic or more wood chips. And next year it'll be a lot better to start with. But you got to start somewhere, and I just got to keep making progress. And but I'm getting there. And that bed there, again, I'll be bringing compost down, and then we'll plant into that, and we'll see how good of the crops we get. And I'm excited, though. Things are doing well. And we took a little walk before we came home, and the deer are still out and about. There's 2 of probably 6 that I saw in this field. It's just right across the street, or kind of kitty corner across the street. They're close, and I hope they don't get into my garden and start eating stuff. But I don't think they'll like garlic and onion. But we'll see when I plant tomatoes and everything else in the near future. Water's running high out of the irrigation ditches, and it's kind of neat to see all the animals, all the newborns, lots of lambs, and they're pretty skittish. So as I move closer to them, they all started kind of getting up and trotting off. As you see, there's triplets, but it's fun to see the babies, and after a long, hard winter, it's nice to see all the new life. And looks like they had a pretty good amount of lambs born. So on our journeys were some horses, and again, we'd only walked maybe probably a 6-block radius walk, and there's quite a few animals around the old hobby farm. And there's one real friendly horse wanted to get petted, and there's one cow hanging out with the group. So I guess that's probably just dinner. Getting ready for full summer of fattening up for freezer camp. Had some goats, a whole bunch of goats in this yard. And a long way across this pasture, I wish I had this much land, is a nice little flock of sheep, a little different variety of sheep. So anyway, hope you like this video and like this little walk around the town. And if you like what you see, please subscribe. Thank you.